And we are back. We are back in full effect. This is James Garman.
This is Daniel White. Happy 2023. Let's go.
Yes, yes. Happy 2023 to everyone out there. This is our first episode back. Welcome back to the closing table. Again, I am super excited for everything that we've experienced last year and rolling into this new year. And of course, me and Daniel has been so busy that we had to take an extra week off, from coming and bringing you guys this amazing podcast this morning. Other than that, Daniel, how's everything going, my guy?
It's going good, man. Going good. I'm ready to roll 2023, leave all those bad habits from 2022 behind us, and get things moving in the right direction here. Do you have a good time off? Did you get a lot of rest, drink a lot of water, work out, all that good stuff?
Indeed, indeed. And speaking of working out, of course, me, you, and a few other people, I'm pretty sure. I'm not big on resolutions. I don't like the resolutions, the theme behind resolutions. One thing that I heard recently was a resolution. I'm sorry. What I heard recently was a resolution was a drunk promise. Most people just create them once they're drunk on New Year's, and 45 days in, they're no longer, on that path of, change or what we like to call evolution. So I don't like to use the term resolution in that sense, but definitely there are some new things on the horizon that me, you, and a few other people were talking about even prior to the New Year's, and I think everything's going great right now for me on that behalf.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I think the same thing here as well, right? I think a lot of times when people do their New Year's resolution, whatever they want to call it, and they set these new plans, whether it's dieting or it's more productive sales, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the big thing is really just holding yourself accountable to it, right? Because things pop up. We're all human.
Indeed, indeed.
We get phone calls. This happens. This family member needs us, or this partner of ours needs some help, stuff like that. So it throws you off track. But I think it's important when you set those New Year's resolutions and stuff like that, that if you do have that hiccup, that you jump right back on, because we're so easy to say, you know what? I'll start it tomorrow. I'll start it the next day. I'll do it again. And then before you know it, it's 2 or 3 days and you
Exactly. It's over with. It's over with.
So yeah. It's going good though, right? Waking up early, getting things moving, and really the big thing for all of us was, just to kind of get rid of all the Christmas cookies.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta get rid of anything that was going to be a hindrance in your new year. And one thing I must say, sugar, sweets, those things. And again, I'm big on the carb intakes now. Now that I've educated myself a lot more since I've been trying to be more health conscious. And again, I have these phases in my life where I go through these health conscious phases. I've been a vegan or vegetarian, pescatarian. Now I'm keto. I'm eating meat again. And I think it's okay that people have these phases, me personally, versus being so, being such a Nazi on being a pescatarian or a vegan. Because again, after doing research, you realize those things aren't as healthy for you as they portray. Being a vegetarian is not as healthy as they portray. I gained a lot of weight as a vegetarian because all the wheat gluten and stuff that I was consuming. But now I'm just on meats, and it's been working. I love the way I feel still, but I'm definitely watching the intake of sugar and the carbs these days, man. That stuff is deadly.
It is. My son came to me. He's like, I'm going to do this meat diet. What's it called? I think, oh God, Joe Rogan. I think he did this all meat.
All meat? You sure it wasn't keto? I mean, keto is pretty much all meat, so.
No, man, this was just steak, red meat, stuff like that. Like, it's like 60 days. Like, it could almost kill you by doing it or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you're 16 years old. You're not.
Yeah, you got to make sure you understand the repercussions of, certain things when you're partaking in them. But yeah, overall, welcome everybody. B. Walker, Dolores, thank you all for tuning in every morning, being great supporters of the show. I think me and Daniel, we're going to get into a conversation around finances this morning, what you can and can't do, and what you should and shouldn't be aware of, what you should be aware of, and what you should avoid in 2023. And again, a lot of people jumped in a lot of different things last year and the year before, but due to the quote unquote virus that was infecting the world, and people having enough time to sit around on their hands and just spend money in places they probably shouldn't have spent money in, and we're going to talk little bit about that here in a minute. But yeah, Daniel. Other than that, anything that you want to point out before we get started with this conversation today?
No, listen, I think this is going to be a good year. I really do. I think the last 18 to 24 months, I think we've all been kind of spoiled with things in business and the way life is. But I think sometimes it's nice to have a reset button. You've seen the commercials with the stop or pause button. You want to pause things. I think where we're leading into when it comes to finances and everything else, I think it's a good time to sit back, look, analyze things, look at things, and maybe almost be like, man, is it too good to be true? Right?
Right.
And kind of where we're headed. So I just think that 2023 is a growth year for everybody, and I'm really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. It's definitely going to be a wonderful year, and we look to have people, everybody join in. And while you're joining in, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't hit the like button already, please do, because it helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Make sure that we get put in front of everybody else because we're so amazing. But yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that bell if you haven't already. All right. So now that we are back, man, just out of curiosity, how much money did you spend over Christmas and these New Year's holidays? Like
James,
what?
I may get in trouble if I tell you. Honestly, every year what we try to do, we've always been this way with the kids, is we try to stay as equal as possible, right? Some gifts are more expensive than others and stuff like that, but for the kids, we usually stay pretty standard at the dollar amount. And then the wife and I were like, okay, we're gonna do X amount of dollars, but we always like to leave after Christmas and get away for 4 or 5 days. So that's really our big gift, is that we left and went down to Daytona this year after Christmas, or after my birthday. So yeah.
Okay, okay, awesome,
Well,
awesome.
I'd say all in all, James, if you want a number,
I would like a number. I would like a number.
of course you do, because you're gonna hold me to it now. Um, Probably about $3,500.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. That's
Yeah,
not bad at
35,
all.
4 grand, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. I mean, with me personally, I think I spent roughly around. I think I kept it light this year. 17, 1800. I kept it light. I think I kept it light. But if you want to compare, like, if you want to add in, Bernie's numbers, I'm pretty sure it's more like 4,000. So, yeah. I mean, if
So
you,
you're probably where my wife is, right? Because my wife's like, I hate it. She got caught up in all these claims and everything around Christmas time, so she really wasn't able to go shopping. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to shop. So I'm shopping and I'm ordering Amazon in the store line.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how you ended up.
Yeah.
Understood, understood. Okay, so listen. Overall, now that we're speaking about finances, I personally think that this year we need to be more cognizant of what we spend, not just on the holidays, but just on a day-to-day basis. A lot of us are comfortable with our routine spending. Our routine spending is something that keeps us in the rut of working check for check, or looking for the next big check when it comes to real estate, when it comes to our next investment dividends. We're always looking for that next big thing. And for me, I feel like if we can be more cognizant of our day-to-day spending, especially with inflation still high, and interest rates still rising on a lot of things, you have to be cognizant of how you're spending your money. And I don't think a lot of people are. And I really want to bring to this platform how you can kind of shift yourself out of that overspending phase of your life, because as we get older, that's something that we should start taking more important. We should make that we should put that at the forefront of our lives, of making sure that we're spending just what we need to spend, making sure your gas tank is full, taking your lunch with you so you're not stopping at these different restaurants spending 10, 20, $30, depending on where you're going and where you like to eat. If you want a steak for lunch 4 or 5 times a week, stuff like that. I'm sorry, did I lose you?
Yep, you're good. You're good. I got you. I got
Okay.
I couldn't hear you there for a second. No, you're right, James, on that count, right? If you're still doing what you've been doing the last 18 to 24 months when everything was booming, as they say, right? And you're still going to Starbucks and you're still going out to lunch every single day. Now, I like going out to lunch. Don't get me wrong. I like going out to lunch because I like meeting people, right? And
Right.
I like to purchase somebody's meal behind me because that's a marketing strategy that
Of
I do.
yours, exactly.
Right? That's what I do. So I do like to go out and do that, but I make it productive. I just don't go there and sit and eat my lunch and scroll on social media. I try to go out to lunch, dinner, whatever it is, and I try to meet somebody new to market myself, right? Everybody likes a free dessert or cup of coffee in line, stuff like that. So um, I think anybody that goes to Starbucks or goes to out to lunch or dinner every single week, I think you should sit down tonight. I think you should write down your average ticket price, times it by 3 or 4, then times that by 52. And I think you could put that into a Roth IRA account.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
I mean, because
if you're
go
married, you can put one in your wife's name and your name and you split it. Right?
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
if we're all sitting here like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Where are things going to go? Well, that is a great tool to put it away and build for your future.
I totally agree. Let's just put it in aspects of numbers real quick. All right, if a person is spending extra, let's say $35, not even 7 days, just say 4 days out of the week. All right,
Yep. So
all
you're
right,
looking at what, 130
100,
bucks,
140 bucks, right?
140 bucks. Yep.
140 bucks a day. I mean a week. All right, let's times that by 4. Okay, we already know what that is. It's about 560. So we times that by 12 months, and you're looking at about $6,000, $6,700 a year.
And you can
That
put $6,500 in a Roth IRA account. If you're married, you can open up 2 of them, right? So if your wife is doing the same thing or your husband's doing the same thing, there's your $13,000 that you just saved for the
Yep.
year.
And I don't think people are cognizant of how $35 don't it doesn't seem like a lot, on a day-to-day basis, but it's really a lot of money, in a totality of the scheme. Everything has to be totaled out, and you can see exactly what you're spending and how much you could be saving actually.
James,
Because
right
go
now,
ahead.
on that note, right there, what you're saying, right? For me, my wife, your wife, right? That is a great thing. But for somebody that's 18, 19, 20 years old, that is really honestly going to Starbucks and out to lunch every single day, because I see it every single day. Uber Eats makes a ton of money off of my younger friends. Seriously. Right? I look at the housing prices right now. And we were having a conversation yesterday as we were kind of driving around and looking at houses, and it's like, man, that house is 220,000. That
Right.
house is 350,000. How is an 18, 19-year-old going to afford that right out of school right now? They are not going to afford that right now. It's not going to happen, right? So if they're not able to buy a house right now, then they should definitely be putting into this Roth IRA account and stop the lunches and the Starbucks and start building that wealth. So then when they're 25 and they've been saving $6,000, $7,000 every single year, it's much easier to go out there and purchase a house or manage your money and understand that when you're 45, 50, 60 years old, you're not going to be relying on anybody.
Yeah.
You're going to take care of yourself.
Totally, and I totally agree with that. And I think a lot of these younger generation, they have a spontaneous, they're so spontaneous when it comes to how they spend money and what they spend money on, and due to the fact they have YouTube around, they're easily getting caught up on these get rich quick schemes, and again, I'm seasoned. You're seasoned. I think it'll be pretty hard to get me and you to invest in something that is pretty much a scam. If you look at the overall spectrum of it, I think it'll be pretty hard for me and you personally to get caught up in a scam. I also tell my lady that I'm pretty much scam proof. At least that's how I feel. I don't feel like I can be scammed because I do too much due diligence on what I'm looking into. I don't do surface due diligence. I actually want to get deep into the structure and how things work. And I'm pretty sure you can relate to that.
Oh, I do. Until I get one of my kids to give me a call and they're like, "Hey, can I have $20 and I need it for a book purchase or whatever?" And
So
then I go to their social media and they're at dinner or something like that, right? I'm like, "Oh, I just bought that dinner."
listen, I totally agree. Totally agree. So during the COVID or the epidemic, pandemic. I'm sorry, during the pandemic, we had a lot of different avenues to be able to get rich. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people did get rich. And there is a market to get rich in a downturn of an economy. We can all relate to that. I mean, a lot of people have already stated how you should have your cash, how you should be strapped, so you can make these investments, so you can turn around and make profit off of these things that are happening in our economy. So a lot of youngsters were big on crypto. Crypto was one of the biggest industries during the pandemic. Me personally, I was skeptic. I got into crypto a little later than I guess most people, but I've been knowing about crypto and Bitcoin since the early 2000s, like 2009, 2010. I was even at one point trying to mine crypto myself. I really tried to use my little two computers to try to start mining crypto myself. But unfortunately, it wasn't something that I was able to be successful in, and I'm okay with that. But I did try to get into the crypto space during the latter part of the pandemic. Me and Bernadette, we actually was in. She's actually convinced me to start looking deeper into it. And Ethereum, Bitcoin, Doge, just Sheep, Inu. I can name off a ton of these cryptos that I was following and I was a part of. Feg token, feed every gorilla is what the term for it was. But the thing is, I was able to make some money on these cryptos because it was a short term play for me. You know, I've always had my doubts about crypto and the things that was happening in the crypto space. There was a lot of cryptos that people was telling me about. I do my due diligence on them, and I started to notice that they were rug pulls. And are you familiar with a rug pull on with crypto?
No.
All right, so with a rug pull, pretty much what it is, it's a crypto or it's a token that has been hyped up by individual or a group of individuals who are early investors of the crypto or maybe even be the creator. Yeah, or be the creator of the crypto. They will then use a celebrity or some type of well-known person or influencer to then promote this crypto or this token on their platform. Once the token becomes really popular, the numbers start to rise, the price per starts to rise, and once it reaches a certain point, it may jump up to 90 cent, 90 cent, a dollar, and at that point, you have so many people invested in it that the actual holders of the token just sells all of their tokens at once, and the price plummets.
Yeah, didn't that happen with the NFTs or something like that? There was like a Bitcoin, like a art museum, a virtual art museum or something like that.
Yes, the Bitcoin, yes. So,
Bitcoin, that's what
yeah,
it was, right?
so
And like
so
only you could visit the museum,
with
the
this token,
virtual
yeah,
museum with this
with
token,
this
right?
token. If I'm not mistaken, it's B2 coin or something like that. It's like that. It's something of that nature. But it's so many damn coins out there. It's so hard to keep up with them. You know, you can like it went from being Bitcoin as the main coin. Then you had so many other coins kind of popping up after that. The Ethereum coin, the Litecoin. There's just so many coins to invest in. It's just crazy. And once I started noticing that it was so easy to create a token, most people would just really copy and paste the token from like another token and just create a new token out of the same formula. So once I started noticing that structure was just a copy and paste tool, and then people just put a nice little story behind it,
Yeah.
and then I get all people pull on people heartstrings that this is going to be the next Bitcoin. I knew that it was going to be a bubble. I knew it was going to pop at some point. I put money into these things, started off small and kind of gradually went up. And I think the biggest profit that I pulled out of one of these coins, which was Sheeb Inu, was about $9,000. So short term play, I had it maybe a month. I was holding it, and I made a $9,000 profit. But that was so random. One day it just shot up. I noticed it shot up, and I sold. I think
Where did it go after you sold it? You cashed out.
Um,
how did it continue to
yeah,
rise, or
yeah,
how much longer did it take before it fell?
yeah. It continued to rise for a little while. I think it got up to, I think I may have missed another 6K
Okay.
profit after I sold. But I'm the type that says, hey, if I want $1, then I'm profiting. I don't need to become a millionaire off a risk. It's a risk. You never know. So it went up about another 6K profit from where I was at. So I think it got up to like, it wasn't even in the pennies yet. It was like the decimals, like it was like 000 and some,
Gotcha.
yeah, it
Gotcha.
was like,
What
yeah.
was your initial investment?
My initial investment was $200. I ended up overall putting about 750 into it overall as it gradually went up,
And you cashed out at 6
and I cashed out at
or
about
9,
yeah, no, 9K,
nine,
yes,
9 grand, right?
yes. But then
Right.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I became one of those guys who was convinced or got convinced. I was thinking, okay, well, it's going to drop. I'm gonna buy back in once it dropped because it's going to shoot back up again. It's going to go back up. But I ended up spending another 1,200 once it dropped, and it never went back up. It just kept dropping, dropping, dropping. So,
All right.
so
All right.
yeah, so 9,000 minus that
At
12,
the end
yeah.
of the day, you had a little fun and you made 7 grand.
Right, made about 7 grand.
Roughly. Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't a bad play. I mean, I'm okay with that. The same thing happened for Fed token, the Feed Every Gorilla token. Bernadette put me on that token. She kind of introduced me to that token, and she was super hyped like this was going to be the next big thing. We
Yeah.
we put, I think she put 500. I put like 300. She made about 4K. Well, it got up to 4K profit for her. It got up to like 2.5K profit for me. But being greedy, thinking this thing is just going to keep going up, we end up not cashing out on any of that profit. It plummeted the next day. It went from 4,000 in her account to like $175. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
just those type of situations was a learning experience, and I don't look at those as scams. I look at those as just me taking a risk on something. But I already knew that it wasn't going to be something that would be a long term play like a Roth IRA or investing
Yep.
or investing with someone that actually has some knowledge of what the market is going to do, like an investment firm. I'm
I,
not.
I will tell you, James, on that note right there, right? When the whole Bitcoin and everything came out, I called my financial advisor, and he's a little older than me, and he's been around for a little bit, and he's treated me very fairly and my family, right?
Okay.
And one of the first things that he said to me is that, hey, listen, I'm going to do my best to help you out and get you where you want to be, but I don't want to know everything about you. I don't want you to put all your ducks in one, or all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
And I said, okay. I like that, right? And it allows me, because I have somebody that is 20 plus years older than me, and then I have someone that is 10 years younger than me as a financial advisor, right? So they kind of balance me out and stuff like that. And when I approached him about Bitcoin, I was like, hey, why should we get in here? He's like, I can't feel that. I can't touch that. He's like, I don't want any part of that. He's like, but if you're going to do it, if you're going to put $100 every 2 weeks into Bitcoin or any of these other coins, you better put $100 into Ford or Nokia or Amazon or someone else to balance and offset it. And so I was like, okay, it's kind of how I took the approach, in buying into the Bitcoin and all that stuff.
Right.
All right, if I'm going to put $100 here, I'm going to go put $100 here where I can touch it and I know that it's there.
It's
right?
there, right?
And so that was my approach into Bitcoin
in the crypto space,
or all the other little coins and stuff. There's so many of them I can't keep track.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Are you still invested right now?
No, I've cashed out of them. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to get to about $6,000, and then I may go buy a coin.
A whole coin. You might go buy a whole coin. Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine? Like, we're talking about it, right? It was last year at the football game. Tom Brady throws 750 touchdown passes to Mike Evans. Mike Evans gives that ball to someone in the stands, right? Takes the ball, he gives him a Bitcoin at $67,000. Now the guy's I think a doctor in Tampa. Like he's a pretty respectful doctor, right? So he doesn't really need it, but he gives him a $67,000 Bitcoin, and I think Bitcoin now is at $16,000.
16,000. So yeah,
that ball is probably worth $2 million.
$2 million. Yeah. So again, it's weird, but I don't understand why us or we as people fall so quickly to these obvious things like scams. Like I think I'm scam proof. I don't want to just sit here and brag like I've never been scammed, but technically I've never been scammed. There's no one that's ever been able to call my phone and tell me that I've won $1 million in a lawsuit from my grandmother's lost kidney or something, and the lawyer is holding my funds, and all I have to do is spend $1,000 to come and pick up the money before the money's delivered. These type of things are actual scams in the world that people fall for, and again, they're mostly aimed towards the elderly because a lot of times these elderly people are going through dementia or anything like that. But I've seen younger generations of people fall for these scams. Oh, I gave this person $200. They promised they was going to deliver me the money and it hasn't came yet. It's so many different ways that people get scammed out here because, and the reason I say they get scammed is because the mentality is a desperate mentality. They have a mentality that they're desperate for a win, that it becomes something that's like, oh, it's that easy to get rich. First of all, it's not easy to get rich. It's not. Being rich, and depending on what your level or thought of rich is, or your level of intelligence when it comes to how you define rich, is totally different from the next person, right? Yep. For me, I know it's not easy to get rich or even be rich or continue to stay rich once you get the money. And just having money doesn't make you rich. It makes you financially stable at the point that you may not have to worry about something for a while like other people have to. But being rich is being enriched with actual knowledge to keep you rich. So you have to have the full understanding on how to stay rich and how to properly invest your money when you actually get the funds to do so. And I don't think everybody has that mentality on staying rich. That's why you have people who win the lottery and 3 or 4 years later, I'm talking about the big lotteries, 50 million, 70 million. And 3 or 4 years later, those people are back asking for loans. It makes no sense, but it's true. It's true.
It's true. Well, even our athletes have the same problem, right? You know, I mean, they make these big, huge contracts, and if they don't have somebody around them and tell them what to do, they're just buying cars, they're buying whatever, like, you know, art.
And we'll talk about that in just a second as well. Yeah.
You know, I mean, seriously, I think one of the smartest things I ever heard in reference to an athlete was Marshawn Lynch. And again, I don't know how true it is, but I mean, I think I've read articles and I saw some interviews and all that stuff. He took his salary that he got and he invested that salary or put that salary away, and he just lived off of his endorsements and stuff like that. And I was like, man, that's amazing. Like, put it away. You don't need it. Live off of your endorsements. And then, you know, when you don't want to work anymore and you don't want to get up and hit that grind every single day, guess what? You've got the money in the bank. You can take care of yourself and live a happy life, right?
Yeah.
So, and James, there's too many scams out there with everything.
With everything. Yeah.
And we buy into everything. I mean, you're in a great position, right? Like, your life lessons have put you in a spot where you feel right now, I'm not going to be scammed.
Right. Exactly.
I'm not going to be scammed.
I'm not that desperate.
Your life lessons, not just your life lessons, but people that you've talked to that have been scammed, and you're like, man, okay, I got to be on the lookout for that.
Exactly.
Right?
Have to be on the lookout for that one. Yes, because there's some good ones too. So, but speaking on what you just said about Marshawn Lynch, what's his name? What's his name? The guy, the receiver, played for the Rams that just hurt his leg.
That
got traded.
Antonio Brown or someone like
No,
that. Odell
Odell,
Beckham. Yep, yep,
Odell
yep.
Beckham. Odell Beckham, when he decided to join the Rams, which at this point I'm thinking is the dumbest idea possible. When he decided to join the Rams last year, was it last year when they won or the year before? Whenever.
Not true. Yeah, yeah.
Last year, whenever he decided to join the Rams, right? His contract was a big contract. His ignorant ass decided to ask for Bitcoin as payment. I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember when he asked for?
No.
You didn't know that. You didn't know that. He asked to be paid in Bitcoin
Oh God.
for his salary, bro. Like literally. I think he's one of the biggest losers in Bitcoin because I think it dropped like $10,000 per
That's
Bitcoin.
when you think you're bigger than everyone else. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like you're not. Like stop that mentality. Stop thinking that you are better than everybody else. And I bet you'll be a lot better off.
Oh yeah, I would totally agree. But I mean, that was the most. That when I heard it, I'm like, he's dumb. He's dumb as shit. But I would have been the same guy that would have been like, that's the guy who said he was dumb as shit if he hit 200,000 per Bitcoin. I would have been that guy. But at the end of the day, I don't trust something that, as you mentioned, I can't touch and feel. But let's talk about paintings real quick because there's again we're in the new age now. We have to talk about digital paintings and digital art, which is NFTs, and we have to talk about the physical art, right?
Yep.
Would I buy an original Mona Lisa? Right? Would I buy an original Mona Lisa? That they keep it in a museum right now. They got this big ass glass container that it sits in that it's waterproof, it's bulletproof, it's fireproof. Would I buy that for $2.5 billion right now? Original. I would buy that.
And 3,000 people come every day to see it and pay $20 for the museum. I'm all in.
I'm all in. I'm all in on that. Because people spend money to see that.
Do you know something I don't know, James? I'm in.
No, not yet. But as soon as I do, you know.
You can take my good arm.
Listen, so I would spend money on that, right? I would spend money on that. I would invest in that. But you're telling me that somebody went to this museum, snapped a picture of this Mona Lisa, changed the background of it digitally 150 times, and they're going to put it online and sell it to me for $100,000. And when I can go to the museum and do the exact same thing, like, how does it make sense that NFTs became such a huge scam? It's a huge ass scam. And I don't know. I know I sent you the video. So NFTs is just another repackaged crypto because that's all it was. It was just another crypto coin that they put a picture on. Like, people just don't get it. They don't get it. I don't understand it.
When I watched the video and I started, like, my kids were like, look at this, this just sold for X amount of dollars. And I'm like, what is it? I'm like, $6 million for that, or a monkey with a cigar in his mouth?
Cigar in his mouth. Yeah.
I'm like,
well, the monkeys was the Bored Apes, right? I think that was the Bored Apes Club.
Like, another photo was like I saw a duck with a golf club or something like that. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, how is this even possible?
Like, why is this thing such a big thing when it can be recreated?
James, but what's scary about it, right? And this is where we get caught up in all of this stuff. And this is where a young person without life experiences gets caught up. If you type NFT, right, in Google or any search engine, there are 200 pages of information and all that stuff. And again, it's all these little key words that catch people's attention.
Yep, these catchphrases.
It is really, really scary. People, not everybody, including myself, is not like you, where you really dive in. I love having conversations with you, and we see what's on the table, but you actually read into things, what's underneath the table and what's the underlining things and how things are working. And hey, this isn't a really good guy, or this isn't a really good guy, right? It's just crazy.
Yeah. I think people are just like overall capsulated and captivated by what they think is possible.
Yep.
I think what makes Warren Buffett such an awesome person and he's going to actually die as a guru to this is that he's been around long enough to see the mistakes of other people in certain areas, in certain arenas where you have to have all the factors to understand what could come out and how things would play out, right? Real quick, I see Bernadette said, sir, you invested in Bitcoin too. Stop it. Well, first of all, I never invested in Bitcoin itself. So there's no proof in any of my wallets that I ever bought one coin or a percentage of a Bitcoin. I only bought the altcoins. If you know what an altcoin is, altcoins are anything outside of the main coins. But anyways, back to what I was saying. When it comes down to people like that, I can trust them. I feel like I can trust his word. If he says Bitcoin and all of this crypto stuff isn't where it's at, I'm gonna take his word for it because this guy has been around long enough to see new things come about, see new things come about and fail, see new things come about and progress.
And
So
what does he do, James? What does he do? Like he has been around for so long, like, but he just doesn't stay with people in his age
no, no,
demographic. He's hiring like younger people to come in all his businesses to help produce him with new, innovative, experienced
exactly,
young minds that are willing to grow. Right? Like you can
exactly,
interview somebody and have an interview, and you're like, okay, look, you know what? You're blinded right here. You're stuck in this lane, and unfortunately, that's not going to get us to the top tier, right? And so, he really has done a great job at the end of the day of just continuing to grow, to continue to have meaningful conversations in education for younger people. So I think he's amazing. I really
yeah.
do.
I mean, again, you also got to ask yourself. You've been around for enough of this turmoil in our economy. You've seen the 2008. You even seen the 1991. Like you didn't experience it yourself, but you seen what your parents went through. You know, you had enough information from that. The 2002 to 2008 situation. So you've had enough information through your lifetime. So by the time you get to this point, you have enough to go back and have a reference point of what seems to be good and what seems to be a bad play. These new generation of kids, I'm not listening to a 21-year-old tell me about stocks and what I should be investing in on the basis that they haven't actually seen a downturn in the economy since they fucking been born. At least they don't even understand what a downturn of an economy is since they've been born. So I can't sit around and listen to a YouTuber or a 21-year-old tell me how I and where I should put my money. You think anybody like Mark Zuckerberg would ever go to a financing or a financial institution, and talk to someone that's 10 years younger than him about where he should put his money and how he should invest his money? I'm pretty sure when he goes to the table, he want to talk to the gray wigs when he's sitting down. He don't want to talk to the guys who look like they just came from, sipping Mai Tais for brunch. No, he wants to talk to the big wigs. He want to talk to the guys that has some salt and pepper going on. He don't want to talk to anyone that his kids could be playing 2K or Modern Warfare with tonight when he goes home. So
You don't want them to go to their social media page and see that they're streaming gamings and all that stuff.
exactly. So
All right, I got you.
know what I'm saying? So he's not doing that. Like he's going to go sit down with people who's been in the game long enough that can tell him where he should and where he shouldn't be financially. So for me, I think these young generation, they've got so much access to the internet, which is great. I think the amount of knowledge they have is amazing. We have it too, but the way they are influenced by this knowledge, I think it's a little bit misleading. I think they don't actually know how to comprehend. Comprehension is huge when you're looking at something. I think taking the face value of numbers can always screw the perspectives a lot, if you follow me.
Yeah, yep. I you run across all the time where look at YouTube and all that stuff, and there are these very young minded kids just feeding into everything, right? I mean, all they're seeing on all these other videos are people having 30,000 subscribers. They're making $1,000 a week and all that stuff. And like they just start going at it, and with all the pictures and all the things that you can do with a computer, they're like, oh, buy this, buy
By
this.
that.
I just made $100,000. I bet if you took over 50% of them, maybe, I'm sure it's more than that, probably don't even have 5,000. Let's give them the benefit of that. 5,000.
5K, in their bank account. You agree?
I'm sure they don't, right? I mean, statistics are that I think it's like 86% of Americans don't have $5,000 saved in a savings account. I mean, that's a crazy number, and I could be way off. But
I think you're right on, actually.
Right? I mean, even if it's 80%, right? Like that's scary. That's scary.
Indeed, it is. Speaking of what these youngsters are doing these days, we also got to talk about people who are getting closer to their retirement, funds. Because again, if you haven't focused on your investment side of your funds, and you are now looking to take whatever you've made or whatever you have in your savings and invest it at 60, 65, you also have to realize that there's a lot of scammers out there who's looking to take advantage of you as well when it comes to these investment firms. And speaking of, one of those people, as at one point, I'm pretty sure, again, I know you've been watching it, is Madoff, right? So Madoff new Netflix series just came out, and I must say it is a doozy. It is something that you should watch. It's something everybody should take advantage of.
I agree with you. I think it opens your eyes to and I've said it to you. When things are too good to be true, like you got to pull a James and dig underneath the table and look at things.
Exactly.
See what is really going on, right? Because things are pretty on top of the table, but what's really going on back there? It is, man. I will tell you, I've got one episode to go, so I'll finish that tonight, man. Last night I could not finish it.
Listen,
I started twitching. My wife's like, "You gotta go to bed." I'm like, "I'm going to bed." She finished it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "I'm going to bed." I was trying to stay up. My son didn't get off work till like 10 o'clock, and we tried to stay up and wait for him to get home. I was like, I'm going to bed.
And it's good. And it's good that you have your significant other is, willing to watch documentaries like that as well. That shows that she's really in tune to where the money goes by the time you all hit 65, and she can say, hey, remember that happened with that Madoff character. We need to stay away from that. So, again, me and Bernadette, we watched it as well. I think she may have one episode left to go if she decides to finish it. I couldn't go to sleep. I was like tuned in. I was hardwired, so yeah. But overall, I think the situation with Madoff, and even before Madoff, we have the Ponzi. We have Ponzi, who actually they created it after him, but he wasn't actually the first one, but he was the first huge one. And right after that, Madoff actually become a Ponzi with the structure in which he created two businesses. One business which was really legit and making a lot of money. So happened that people felt like he was so good at what he was doing that they wanted him to start investing their money, which was a mistake because he didn't actually know how to invest money, but he didn't also know how to tell people no, because he also wanted to keep up the image of being a successful banker, investment firm. And realized this guy didn't go to college. He went to college for like a year.
Dropped out, right?
Yeah, and dropped out. But he didn't finish college. He wasn't the smartest guy in his class. And I personally think 85-90% of the time, these guys just kind of know how to play on people's heartstrings. They actually have the mentality to become really good people in society. That's what actually gets you the money. Is your reputation. Your reputation gets you the money. And if people know you for making money, they're going to want to put their money with you. But the goal is to actually make these people money in real life. And he didn't know how to do that.
He did not know how to do that.
Yeah.
It was a scheme. I watched the first three or four, the first three episodes. I think there's total
four.
Four
Yeah,
episodes.
four, right? Mm-hmm.
So, and what I got out of that, and I started thinking about us talking about it and conversating, like a red flag for me, right? And let's see if I can give two good examples, right? for him, when he was sitting down at the table with everybody and he's like, "Oh, James, you've got $7 million to invest and you don't like my plan and all that stuff. Well, just leave. I've
Just
got somebody else." Like that's not true. Like if I take my insurance business, and I'll give a real estate example as well. If somebody walks in my office and I do multiple quotes for them and I'm like, "Hey, James, you know what? We're only $50 cheaper than what you're currently paying right now." And if I said to you, "If you don't take this policy right now, don't ever come back into my office," you would go and tell 10 people what I said, and I would lose the potential times that by 2 or 3. I'd lose 30, 40 people down the road over the lifetime of the business.
I understand.
But if I said to you, "You know what, James, you got a really good policy right now for $50. I do not need you to sign documents, call your lenders, do all the changes. Let's keep it as is. Know that, hey, at the end of the day, in 6 months or 12 months from now, let's re-look at everything and let's see what happens," right?
I listen. I'm with you.
On the real estate side, if I go to a property, and I had this happen to me, sold a client a house, right? Sold a house. He calls me up in the last 18 to 24 months and goes, "Hey, I want to list my house for $600K. I want to reset the market in my area. People are just buying houses like crazy." I'm like, I can't do that, man. Like, the houses are only selling for $450. Like, and you don't have the biggest and best house in the neighborhood. Like, I have to step away, right? Like, that's that same scheme. Like, that's when you can step away and it's okay, right? That's when you could tell somebody, "No, this is not in my best interest. It's not in your best interest."
I totally
right?
agree.
Walk away. But to tell somebody, "If you don't give me your $7 million right now, leave this office, don't ever come back." Like, that's not what a financial advisor would do.
I listen. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. And before we actually move forward, hey, we have 8 people watching right now. If you do not mind hitting that like button, we only have 3 likes right now. But if you can hit that like button, help us stay in the YouTube algorithm. We would really appreciate it. Also, hit that subscribe button and bell if you haven't already. All right. So this is the difference, though, Daniel. All right. If you're an investment firm, if you're a smaller investment firm, and you are and you've heard the reason why you're at this table is because 60% of the people that you work with have already said this is the person you need to go talk to next. This guy is the major. He's a major guy. He's a major player on the board. He's working with NASDAQ. He's on the board of NASDAQ. He's positioned himself that the powers that be are speaking to him directly. Let me put it like this. If Warren Buffett invited you to come sit down in his office right now, you had $2 million to invest. Warren Buffett invited you to sit down at his table at this very, very moment, right?
Yeah.
And he tells you the exact same thing that Madoff just stated. You know this is Warren Buffett. He has no time to waste explaining to you how he makes his money. But you know he makes money. You know he's the guy that makes money. You're going to tell me that if he told you to get the hell out of his office, that you wouldn't reevaluate your structure? You only got a couple of million. He has billions. You're not gonna restructure your approach. You're like, well, maybe you're right. This guy,
James, but we were talking about 2 different people. We're talking about a scheme, something that blew up.
But
right?
we didn't know he was a scheme.
Yeah. But Warren Buffett's been around for Madoff was.
That was around the same time.
You know what? I'm buying into the Netflix show.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, this is after the fact. This is what we're seeing.
But
after
still,
the fact.
I only had $2 million, and somebody tells me you're investing now or get out, dude. I promise you, man. I still have that $2 million. As soon as I write that check, that $2 million is in that account, right?
Yeah.
So what guarantee and stuff do I have? If it was my only $2 million, I'm probably holding back.
I would agree. I'm more than likely with you. Hey,
I'll be honest with you. I'd be like, you know what, Warren Buffett, you own a real estate firm. I think I'm going to take my $2 million and I think I'm going to go buy some real estate. And then I'll have some passive income coming in.
Got you. So and I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Bernadette said the same thing. She was like, if somebody told me to get out the office, I'm not doing business with them. I think you would if you knew that this guy was the guy who can make you 15% on your returns, as everybody claiming that they're getting. If 60% of the people you talk to are claiming that this is what they're making 15% returns on their investment. I know damn well I'm not walking out of that office. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm too
most people
small.
won't right now. Probably that haven't seen the Netflix won't understand what I say next. Is I would ask him, can I see your monthly statements and what they look like?
Oh yeah, agreed. And he showed you got $65 million sitting in the trust. I mean, $65 billion sitting in the trust. I'm like, well, yeah, I think this is something I need to be a part of. But again, I'm not the type of person like to jump on a bandwagon late. I'm not the MLM guy. You can't start something with me that's already being implemented. Great example. I know we got not long before we get up out of here. Great example. I was invited to this event not too long ago, and I knew when I got there it was going to be an MLM. I just had a feeling I was being invited to an MLM, but it was sold to me on a whole different basis.
Explain it, MLM.
Multiple level marketing, multi-level marketing.
Sure.
All right, yeah, multi-level marketing where the guy at the very top started something. He started selling something. Then he recruited two other guys who became co-president and executive president and supervisor president who went out and recruited six more people, and those six people became six more people, and those six people became 17 more people, to a point where there's not actually any product being sold. That's the only thing about an MLM, is that there's not actually a product being sold that anybody really wants to buy. They're making all of their money by telling you to invite other people and have them spend their $199, $50 to get started doing what you do. There's no business I've ever been to where I was told that, hey, to sell my products, you first have to buy me. You first have to buy me, use me, and tell me that you love it before I allow you to come into my company and sell it. Like, if I'm a salesperson, I'm a great salesperson, you just hire me. That's how sales reps work. Am I correct? So for an MLM, for me, I knew it was an MLM. So I was invited to this event. They told me it was an invite for bosses. Okay, I feel like I'm a boss. I feel like, hey, you want me in the building. I know something's really going on. It's like, you want me in the building. We finna make some money together, So I get to the place. I have some good conversation with people, but halfway through, it's like they start selling me on spend $199 to start this business, and with this business you get all of these resources and you can help people and you can go out and recruit other people. I'm like, what? Like, first of all, if you're going to invite someone like me into a building for an investment opportunity, you need to be telling me I need to spend every bit of 5 to 10K. One thing I know for sure, and two things I know for certain, off of $199 investment, when it comes to creating a business or being in a business structure, the return on that type of money is shit. It's shit. Even if you have 5 or 10K, the most you're going to get is a 3 to 4% return on your money in real investing. So for anybody to come to me and talk about I can make 250% return on a $199 investment, nope, I'm good. For somebody to come to me, somebody come to me and tell me I can make 200, 15, 20, 30% return on $10,000 investment, nope, I'm okay. Realistically, the most you can make on an investment at any given point is 5 to 7%. And that depends on what you're actually investing in and how long those terms are. Because it's not possible. It's not possible. The market has never shown that anybody can make a consistent return above 5 to 6%. And most of the time, it can really get as low as 2 to 3 or 4 to 5. So I can't fall for that. I can't fall for it, man. So I stay away from multi-level marketing. I stay away from get-rich-quick schemes. I stay away from all of that stuff, because at the end of the day, you end up spending more money than you make.
So do you go now just to learn like sales pitches and stuff like that? Like I like going to those things because I like to see people's body language and how they're interacting with other people.
Yeah.
That's if I go to any of those things, that's kind of what I go for. Like, I'm like, all right, this is like an educational thing for me, right? Because I love sales, but I don't consider myself to be the best salesperson, right? I think I'm really good at it, but I'm always wanting to grow. So I like going to those because of the attitude and the positive and the energy that they have. I'm like,
Right.
oh, all right, I'm going to use that the next time I'm up speaking in front of a crowd and stuff like that.
Agreed. And don't get me wrong, the speaker was he was a really good speaker, and I really liked his structure. I really liked how he delivered. But again, you can't sell a rags and riches story to a person who actually came from rags to riches. And I actually don't need to go back to the lower level of making money. So they invited these people here who are making over six figures, and you're telling them they can make six figures by investing $199. That's not the thing. You should have. When you have somebody like me and 10 other people pulling up in Mercedes and BMWs talking about 2019s and above, you don't pitch them $199 marketing. You pitch them $10,000-$20,000 real estate investment possibilities. You don't pitch them $199. Now his rags to riches stories were pretty awesome. It was funny. He made a good light of it, but at the end of the day, I look at this. You say you're not a good salesman in a sense. You say you're a good salesman, but you're not like what you just stated. I beg to differ. There's two types of salesmen. There's the snake oil salesman, and there's the real life salesman. You don't have to sell people snake oil because the product that you have is actually working. You don't have to sell people snake oil because you are actually a person who care about everybody that you come across and making sure that they're getting into something that they actually want, getting something that they actually need. You actually have a product that can actually help and benefit everybody that you come across. The real life salesman is you. I can sell you something without actually having to sell you something because what you're trying to buy is what you was already looking to purchase anyways. So I don't have to force you into a situation. That's not what we do as realtors. That's not what we do as insurance salesmen. That's not what we do as mortgage people, or at least that's not who we're supposed to be. Our goal is to listen and respond. We listen to your needs. We let you know if it's out there for you or not. We shouldn't listen to your needs and say, listen, I only make $200. I only can afford a $220,000 home, but every home I show you is above $450,000, and then I tell you to go to your family and friends and figure out how the hell you're supposed to raise the rest of this damn money. So because you need this house is so amazing. It's going to make you this and this. So that's what I'm saying. The difference is you have snake oil salesmen and you have real life salesmen. And I think I sell real life. I sell real products. I sell real material. I sell real tangibles that can actually benefit you in the long run. So with that being said, I enjoyed the Madoff story. If you haven't watched it, everybody, please go to Netflix and check out the Madoff story. And also check out the scheme behind Bitcoin, because me and Daniel also had this conversation yesterday where I was letting him know, or telling him, that every 10 to 15 years, after every big market crash, after every big economy downturn, there's a new scam being presented. After the Ponzi scheme, right at the end of the Ponzi scheme, Madoff started his scheme. At the end of Madoff's scheme in 2008, when the market crashed and the housing market crashed, Bitcoin started. Bitcoin and FTX just recently went through one of the now it's the biggest scheme on the planet ever. And I think he was up to $69 million in his scheme. So that Friedman, whatever the hell his name is, he's probably going to get 120 years in prison. They gave Madoff 150. He was an example, but definitely
you better not get 120 years and be living in like a Bahama prison where it's Mai Tais,
and he got views of palm trees in the ocean when he look out his window. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. But right now, you can damn well believe that there's another scheme happening right now that's being created from some crisis, because that's what happens. At a crisis, someone is looking for a way to make people comfortable. And how do you make people comfortable? By giving them a way out of the bad situation. And there's a lot of people in bad situations right now.
James, before you end it, right, I just want to start something new, right? And
sounds good.
You can call me out next week, right? But next week, I want to know on Monday, at this moment in your life, what is your greatest accomplishment?
Awesome.
And you can tell everybody next week.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, and honestly, Bernadette said Ukraine. Ukraine. Oh, well, listen, we'll say that for another one. We'll say that for another one. But yeah, definitely. I have an answer for you and everybody else that's tuned in right now. We would love to hear your answer in the chat as well. So make sure you have an answer for us next week. What is your biggest accomplishment right now in your life? And have that answer for us next week when we join in again at the closing table. I am your host, James Garman.
This is Daniel White.
And we are glad to be back. And until next time, you all be safe. Don't get scammed while you out here sleep. So wake up, open your eyes, and stay focused. And yeah, have a great one.
Until next time. Make it count, guys. Let's go.